This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. So many of us are dealing with sleep challenges, and you should be getting at least 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours optimally, maybe even more, depending on your age, every night. But many of us have challenges with that. Either we can't fall asleep or we do, and then we wake up. And what usually happens, a lot of us gravitate toward meds, could be melatonin, CBD, gummies, whatever works for you. Got to get it done. You got to sleep. If you want optimal health and just to have focus, you need sleep. Have you ever thought about Feng Shui? That's not a medication. It's a Asian practice of placements and energy flow, loosely put here. And she's the expert with it. She's certified in it, and she's back with us. Catherine Dean is going to help us get some sleep. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We've talked about Feng Shui, always been on my radar, would not even think of connecting it to better sleep. Wow. Like, shocking how it can support. I'm lost on this. I'm going to throw it right back to you. I don't know. Where do we begin?
So, there's a lot to it. There was a lot to getting a good night's sleep. And we have to remember that we live in very modern times. It used to be that people worked the field, they would live a completely contained life. They would build their homes, they would grow their food, they took care of themselves, and, they were working constantly. And by the end of the day, they were pretty tired and they could easily fall asleep. And over time, obviously we've evolved into such a high-tech kind of life, and it's got an effect on everything that we do. But a lot of people notice it in their sleeping habits and their sleeping patterns. So what can Feng Shui do about that? Well, I want to remind everybody that we use the Bagua, and the Bagua refers to 9 different areas of life. So the reason I bring that up is because there are many areas of life that Feng Shui can address. Sleep is a byproduct of, good health and balance and feeling rested and just an overall sense of well-being. And that's what I would like to have everybody experience in their lives. And that's why I do Feng Shui. So how does Feng Shui coincide with sleep? Well, I've written 2 different blogs, which people can find on my website for even more information. But for today, I can go over some Feng Shui rules that definitely can help to create a calm environment in which to fall asleep. So the first thing, we always look at the bedroom and see how a bedroom is set up. And we can address color. We can address where the bed is located. We can address windows, doors, things like that. But one of the first things we always talk about is the clutter in the room. And I have a saying, which is, clutter is the enemy of your serenity. And if you walk into your room, a lot of people have their home office in their bedroom. They have their workout area in their bedroom. And a lot of times the situation is such where people are not devoted to their sleeping once they get into their bedroom. When you walk into your room, you want it to feel calm. You want it to feel serene. You want to be able to just crawl into bed and snuggle up and maybe read for a little bit and then fall asleep. So clutter would be the first thing. A lot of people store items under their bed, and I understand that storing
I'm
items.
afraid what's going to come from this right now.
I know, because I understand people, they have a lot of possessions or they don't have a lot of space. And a lot of people do turn to under their beds for storage. And so what Feng Shui does recommend, first of all, the first most ideal thing is nothing, no clutter under the bed. But if it is a necessary place for storage, we recommend soft items like sheets, towels, t-shirt, summer t-shirts or maybe winter sweaters, that kind of thing. No sharp objects, and certainly not your legal papers or items that evoke negative emotion in you. So, so that the area and the surrounding energy, the energy surrounding your bed is what I'm trying to say. You want all of that to be serene. So
Hmm.
that would be the first place to start.
What if this is my bed? You got a lot of
Okay.
pillows, like decorative pillows and everything. And a
hmm
lot of times I just put them over to the side,
hmm
so you make the bed whenever. Well, not that I do that regularly, but whatever. Um, is that considered clutter?
I would say no. I-
Oof,
But
okay.
but in putting them down wherever you put them, if you should wake up in the middle of the night or if you're having trouble falling asleep and you're staring at these pillows, then they're an annoyance. So what I would recommend is line them up nicely, neatly, that kind of thing. But no, I would not consider that clutter.
Hmm. Um, this one's a big one.
Okay.
Clothes. You got clothes, you got laundry you didn't do, it's in the basket. Maybe you did, you didn't put it away. Maybe it's on your dresser, you didn't get to it yet.
hmm
I would imagine that's not a good thing.
That's not ideal. It's not, you have to think in terms of what are you trying to accomplish? If you walk into your room and you're annoyed, then how well are you going to sleep? But if you walk into your room and it's like, okay, I got to dust tomorrow or I got to vacuum over the weekend, but everything looks nice and that bed looks inviting and I'm tired and I want to get to sleep, that is your indicator as to whether or not things need to be addressed. When it comes to clothes and closets and what we hold on to, that is another whole topic that we put under clutter. The the very basic way of addressing that type of thing, clothes especially, is are you holding on to things that you need, use, and love? And does it fit? And then we have this thing too, a lot of people hold on to stuff because I'm going to lose that weight and I'm going to fit into it again. And we discourage that because it's good to embrace where you are right now. And if you do have an intention to lose weight and to fit in those clothes again, then you need to trust the universe that by the time you get there, you will have the means to be able to replace those items if you have donated them. Now, if you want to hold on to them like you're actively losing weight and you know that you're going to be, you're going to be approaching your goal in the next couple of months, that's fine. You can put a deadline on that for yourself. But if you haven't reached it in a couple of months, then I would recommend that somebody let go of that. When it comes to putting your laundry away, maybe you can just change your habit. And that is when I wash the clothes, I dry the clothes. When they're dry, I fold them and then put them away. And then it's done.
Hmm. What about your closets?
Well, closets can hold a lot more than clothes, It can be like legal papers, it can
Mm,
be your shoes, it can be trinkets and mementos and all that. And sometimes that's the best place to store them because maybe it's the only place. And so if that's the case, I would always recommend paring down. Are you holding on to things that you need, use, and love? And if you're not, then I would say you have to go through that decluttering process.
now, what do you say to somebody based on our previous conversations? I kind of know what the answer is, but I'm going to throw it out here.
Okay.
Somebody who says, well, Catherine, my eyes are closed when I'm sleeping. I'm not
hmm
looking at, the stuff on the dresser, the stuff in the laundry basket. I'm just going to sleep. So,
hmm
how does this even make a difference?
Well, then that person would need to be reminded that Feng Shui deals with energy. And the energy in your room is surrounding you. If it's old and stagnant and cluttery and negative, that's going to affect your quality of sleep. If what you're surrounded with is fresh and something you use and everything's got a place
Hmm.
and airflow and energy flow can go freely, the energy in your room is surrounding you and it's supportive.
So I'm getting a breath of fresh air from you right now. I'm feeling fresh.
Hmm. Nice.
Flowers. Like, you have artificial flowers. Does it make sense to, it's an investment, but occasionally have some real flowers in there? Is that going to really, elevate things?
Well, there's different ideas about plants and flowers in a bedroom. If it's your anniversary, if it's your birthday and somebody and I say go for it because they're there for a short period of time. Um, there is There is not a 100% meeting of the minds as to whether or not you should put plants in your room. Some people say absolutely not. Others will say, yeah, why not? And I'm of the opinion that a plant or two in your bedroom is just fine. But what we don't recommend is pointy leafed plants
Hmm.
because that's sharp negative energy that can be emitted from the plant.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'll check that when I get home. Um, what are some of the other things that we should be mindful of for a good night's sleep?
Well, I think a lot of people have trouble sleeping because of their habits prior to going to bed, and it's usually involving their computers.
Well,
Or,
okay, and I'm on your page with that. Let's
hmm.
factor that out. Let's be smart, everyone. It's been scientifically proven. The light from your devices, the blue light, all of that, it's going to keep you up. So let's say we're taking care of that. We're going to go right to bed. Maybe we'll read a page or two in a book, whatever,
Hmm.
and TV off. Like all the things you should be doing. Feng Shui connected. What else is floating out there?
Well, okay, you might not be on your computer and you might not be watching the TV, but Feng Shui recommends that neither one are in your room. And Feng Shui recommends that your phone isn't in your room. However, I have got to address that because most people don't have landlines. And you do want to feel safe and secure in your room. If you should need help in the middle of the night, you don't want to be half asleep and crawling to finding your phone in another room somewhere. So I can understand having a phone in your room, but where you charge it, it shouldn't be near your head. So you do want to be charging your phone away from your bed. Okay, so you've taken care of
Ooh.
all, yeah, I know. And you've,
We all have a problem. We
yes, I
all
know we
we have a
do.
challenge here, all of us. Yeah.
Well, it's a good point, and I don't like people to say, well, this is why I can't do feng shui. There's too many rules. I can't follow it, blah blah blah. And I shouldn't say blah 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 because I get it. I understand that. But we are living in modern times which do present some challenges and do create negative energy surroundings for us, and we can counter that. And so I would recommend we do not have a TV in our bedroom. We still have a landline, so we do not bring our phones into our room when we go to bed.
Hmm.
So if you do have a TV in your room, definitely turn it off and don't watch it while you're in your room, unless maybe you're sick one day and it's like, oh, I just cannot get out of bed and you want that entertainment. However, it's still going to be interfering with good energy flow. But
Hmm.
what a lot of very seasoned feng shui professionals will advise you to put a curtain or a cloth or something over your TV to just block that whole energy.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I have one.
Hmm.
I rarely watch TV. There are sometimes I'll just have it on in the background.
Hmm.
I'm not really watching it. Been getting into listening to music more before I go to bed lately.
Hmm.
Um, but wow, that's a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one, and I know it's problematic to a lot of people. Homes are built now with the big, connection up on the wall for the wall-mounted TV and everything, but I would recommend artwork, peaceful artwork rather than a TV in a bedroom.
Now,
We've got a lot of people have TVs in their kitchen, in their family room, maybe in an office. they're everywhere. So, maybe you can get by without a TV in your bedroom.
Gotcha. Anything else when it comes to sleep that we should be mindful of?
Yeah, one more thing I think is important to mention is the color of your room.
Mm.
That's a big one. If you walk in and you're shocked because you're looking at a big, bold accent wall that's painted red, then it's like, and you're feeling that shock when you walk in. That's not a good color. That's conducive for sleep. Red and navy blue, I would only use as accent colors. A lot of people like blue. It is a soothing color, but too much of a darker blue can be too much energy producing. And then, of course, red, as we've talked about before, is the fire element, and that's just too much high energy when you're trying to relax. So if you walk in and you like the color and you can say, "Oh, I love this," then you're in good shape. So it's not like you have to have it a certain color. It has to evoke a certain feeling.
Hmm. I'm on your website looking at the blog,
Hmm.
and I'm proud to say that my bedroom looks like where you said, uh, well, I don't know if it's the bed location is best, but the layout of that picture where it's a bed, two nightstands,
Hmm.
pictures above the headboard, um, lamps on the nightstands, but some pillows, but simple. It's
Hmm.
kind of what mine looks like, albeit some of those items were from a previous relationship. We talked about that previously.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
how to cleanse the energy, if you will.
Well,
Um,
let me address that really quickly because if these are items that you like and they do not evoke a negativity or sadness or anything like that, I would say keep them, but I don't think I would recommend keeping them in your bedroom, especially if you're looking to have another relationship down the road or if you're in a new one.
and there's no effective way to cleanse the energy.
Well, the thing is, you can cleanse the energy, but you are going to be reminded of that every single time you look at it.
I honestly don't think of it
Well,
unless it's a subconscious thing. I get it.
yeah, that's where I'm going with it. And can you see the energy around you?
Obviously, no.
Right. So as you cannot see the energy around you, it's kind of the same equivalency to even though that picture doesn't evoke negative conscious emotion, it doesn't mean it's not having an effect.
But the bed was really expensive. You have no idea. And I worked hard for that.
Hmm.
And I'm not, not going to get
Well,
into
if
it.
you want to keep your bed, okay, I get that, but maybe the mattress and box spring should be replaced.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
There's your
Uh,
compromise.
yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
Bed placement, big
Hmm.
deal or not?
Yes, it is a big deal. The biggest faux pas that you could have in Feng Shui is having your feet aligned with the door. Now, that is one, if that is happening, now it doesn't mean, now your feet could be in the same direction as the door, but they're actually facing a wall. The wall is it's the same wall as where your door is. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where the bed actually, like in a straight line, it lines
Okay.
up to the door. You don't want your feet facing the door. So that that is negative energy and it can interfere with your sleep. If that is the absolute only way to place your bed, then I would recommend a crystal hung from your ceiling at some point between where your bed ends and where the door is. So somewhere in the middle between those two areas to break up that energy and to keep it moving and flowing. The
Is it?
other, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just curious. Bed placement.
Hmm.
Should you be able to see the door when you're in bed?
Yes, that's ideal.
Figured so. Okay.
Hmm. Yes.
Hmm.
Now, some people have their headboard on the same wall as their door because that's the best placement for the bed because maybe that's the only solid wall. The other walls, one has a closet and the other has windows. Then the remedy for that is to place your bed there, but then put a mirror on the opposite wall so that when you're lying in bed, you can look at the mirror and see the door. And so that sense of being taken by surprise would be eliminated because you can see who's coming and going in the door.
Is a mirror essential?
In your bedroom?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it is not.
Hmm. Um, Final question on bed placement. Should it be facing a certain, for optimal sleep, should it be facing a certain direction?
Well, the- yes, it can make a difference. People have their ideal directions and their less than ideal directions based on their Mingwa numbers. That is something I do in my consultations, but it follows the formula, and I can't just look at somebody and say, "Oh, you're this number or you're that number." Based on the number that you do have an ideal direction, and if it works out that you can place your bed facing that direction, that's the most ideal.
So really, for the best case scenario, somebody should connect with you to, the number and all of that
Hmm.
to really know, the best way to do this. You
Yeah,
need to do a little homework on that person. They need to provide a little basic details, things like that.
exactly.
Wow.
It's a very interactive process to have a feng shui consultation.
Had no idea. And
Yeah,
again, back to the beginning when we first started getting together, I just thought it was all about the placement. Bed faces the west,
yeah,
for
right.
whatever it might be, for whatever goal you're trying to attain.
Hmm.
Um, Final question here.
Okay.
Should your bedroom door be closed? Now, I know that some say that your door should be closed for fire safety reasons, but
Hmm.
should it be closed?
Yeah, it should be closed. I recommend that. And there's also that you bring up another point that I should make because if any other feng shui consultant is listening, they'll say, "Why did you forget that?"
Hmm.
If you have an ensuite, and the ensuite has energy that can kind of affect you while you're sleeping, even though it's a separate room. But bedroom or bathrooms have drains. There's a drain on the toilet. There's a drain on the tub. There's a
Wow.
drain in the shower, and then there's drains in the sink. And that is energy that's being pulled down. And so always recommend close your door to your ensuite, close the door to your closets. Have your room contain you with its own energy and not energy spilling over from anything else.
Sounds reasonable. I mean, I keep the door closed anyway. I don't know why,
Hmm.
I guess if other people want to use the bathroom because it leads to my room, so I just
Hmm.
keep the door closed.
Hmm.
Um, we were wondering, would we be able to fill a podcast talking about feng shui principles for bedroom sleeping?
Yeah.
We did, like we
I
totally
know,
did.
isn't that something? There is so
Yeah,
much to everything, but it not everything applies to everyone.
right.
And so even though we go over a lot of information that maybe some of it doesn't apply to you at all.
And these are answers for some. If you're having trouble sleeping, maybe you want to take a look at some of these or reach out to you. What's the best way to do that?
So or not my blog, my website has my blogs and it has a sign up space for my newsletter too, which every month I'm coming up with more and more information for people to just put in their back pocket. So you can reach me through my website, Catherine, Catherine, Dean, Dean, Catherine Dean Feng Shui.com.
This stuff is fascinating. It really is. I knew it was cool, but talking to you, like it layers, layers, layers deeper in uncovering the mystery of positive energy flow,
Yeah,
and it's all there.
that's
Uh,
right.
Thank you for being here today. Maybe next time we get together, we'll talk about feng shui myths.
All right, sounds great.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.